Hello everyone, it's Kari from sunshineonmypocket.com. Today I'm going to be creating a shaker tag using this brand new set from Heffy Doodle called Fangtastic Furballs. There are some cute critters in this set, and also you can get the coordinating dies if you would like. I'm also going to be using this set here. This is the tall Snowglobe die set. And I will be using quite a few pieces from that to build our shaker tag. It's so easy to build a tag like this when you have all the right tools, including this die set. So I want to show you how simple it really is. To get started, let's go ahead and use our alcohol-friendly cardstock. I've got a piece here that's just perfect for fitting all of these images that I want to use. I've already laid out kind of an idea of what I want to do, and so I know how many pieces I'll need. So I'm going to go ahead and use some alcohol-friendly ink to ink that up, and then I'm going to stamp just a few extra stamps of the bubble stamp, this one right here. So I will just move that and ink it a few more times. You can see that I've chosen the cauldron, one of the dogs, the witch's hat, a couple of the bones from this set, but I can't believe that I did not use that little dinosaur guy in the costume and the other one. I mean, there's some really cute images in this set. It was very hard to choose, but this worked out best for my little scene. There's a lot of possibilities of scenes you could build using this set. It's very, very cute. I'm going to start the Copic Coloring, and we're going to keep the coloring to a minimum. So I've got 3 shades of green there that I used for the cauldron inside and for all the bubbles. And then I'm going to use some neutral grays to color up the cauldron itself. And this is just very simple coloring. I love keeping the colors to a minimum because then it makes your experience of making a card or a tag just so simple and very relaxing, and it's just quick also. So you can see how fast I'm coloring this up, and I'll go over it once again with some of the colors to really get those blended together nicely. So besides the greens that I've used, these neutral grays, I'm also going to bring in some warm grays to color up the bones and then also the dog. So it's going to be very, very easy and minimal. I'm going to skip through to the next coloring of the dog just so you can see how that all turns out. I've got the warm grays here, and I'm doing my favorite method of coloring once again, where I start with the dark shade, blend it out with a mid-tone, and then go in with the light shade. Today I'm going to use 4 shades of warm gray. It's some nice easy shading for this coloring here, and we're just going to make it nice and smooth. I love this little guy. He's so cute. I'm going to use that witch's hat on him. He's going to be making this cauldron, whatever the concoction is that he's cooking up here. Probably for some kind of fondue for his bones. That's what I'm guessing. His little dog treats. So there is our dog. Again, I'll go once again with the darkest shade and blend those out through all the other shades. He's just so cute. What should we call him? I don't know. Just leave me your comments below. Let me know what you would name this little guy or girl. So as we finish up the coloring, what I'm going to do next is take the dies and cut them apart so that I can use them on all these images. I'm going to use my Heffy tape to tape them down for die cutting so they stay right in place. I really like this tape because it's very low tack. It's kind of like a paper tape, and when you run it through your die cut machine, it's not going to stick so bad to your images that it'll rip them. It will not do that. So I really like this tape, and I'm going to go ahead and run that through my mini die cutting machine from Heffy Doodle. It works really great. And you know that I love keeping it right close to me right here on my desk. Now this cauldron has a cut right in the center, so that means you can put things inside, sticking out of that cauldron if you want to. I love dies like this that give you those options. It's really great. Now from the tall snow globe set, I die cut all these pieces, and then I took that largest piece and cut out some acetate, and that's what I'm going to use on the front piece of this shaker. To get this frame right here, I used the two largest pieces, cut them at the same time, and that will create this piece right here. And so then when I add that acetate, I will put something heavy over that so that it can dry. Now I've got the large piece and the smaller piece here, and the smaller piece is what I'm going to create that scene on. So I'm going to build up the scene starting with some ink blending, and I'll start with a light shade of green. And this is a really fun shade to match those Copic greens that I used. Then I'll go in with a little darker shade of green around the edges, and then we're going to add some billowing smoke like it's coming out of that cauldron. It's a really fun little scene. To create those billowing clouds from the cauldron, I'm going to use this stencil from Heffy Doodle. It's the cloud stencil, and it is awesome because you can put your piece right inside there and get all different looks. And this time I'm using the different edges that I would normally use for a cloud. So I get like the smoke look. So that smoke is kind of a dark blue-green smoke that's coming out of there. So I'll just rearrange the way that I have this, and so that I get all different looks of my billowing smoke. And that looks pretty good right there. So now to create the ground, I'm going to tape off the bottom portion of this scene, and then I will ink on a darker ink. So I'll use my Heffy tape to do that, and I'll just cut off a piece that's big enough to cover that, and then this will ground our images. So I'll use this darker shade here, and I'm just going to put it on multiple layers until I get the look that I want. And that looks good right there. Look at that. So it's time to put all our scene together and figure out how to get this shaker working like it should. So I'm just going to kind of place my scene just to get it kind of laid out there. But what I decided to do was put my scene on top of the acetate so that it would not interfere with any of my sparkle mix, because I want that sparkle mix to really be able to shake around. So, but this is what it's going to look like. That's going to give us an idea. And I've got a sentiment that says Happy Howloween that's going to go down there. And that is the little base for our snow globe. I'm using some VersaFine Onyx black ink to stamp this, and that will take my embossing powder. The reason I used black ink instead of my clear sticky ink is because I'm using this black sparkle embossing powder, and I wanted it to be black behind there. So it was a really nice dark impression of this embossing powder. But this is a fun one because it's got black embossing powder and lots of glitter in it, so it really sparkles. And there we go. You can kind of see some of that sparkle that shows up. It's a really fun one. Now I'll stamp our sentiment onto the background. It says, "Did someone say treats?" And that's perfect for this little scene. I'm going to stamp it multiple times, and then I'll heat emboss that with clear embossing powder, and that will keep that from smearing. I went ahead and did that off screen, and there's a couple sparkle mixes that are just gorgeous for this. I'm going to use the Hocus Pocus one, and I'm going to use some of this double thick deep foam tape from Heffy Doodle. They have it in stripes or in a big roll like this, and I'm going to use the one in the big roll, and this is the skinny one. So it's going to fit right behind this frame perfectly. And I love that. That makes it so easy for making a shaker tag or a shaker card, because you don't have to cut it down. You don't have to double it up. It's already done for you, and it's perfect. So that's going to work really great. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue this background down to my base. And then we can put the sparkle mix right inside. I like to add my sparkle mix to the background so that that's just going to stay flat and I can put the frame right over the top. It's a really easy way to make a shaker tag. I like to also take a few pieces out, and including those little gems that are in there. I love the gems. It just really makes it sparkle even more. And I like to glue them to the top so that everything doesn't always fall down to the bottom. We've got some that are always up near that sentiment. Once that has dried, I'll go ahead and remove the backer from the foam tape and add it to the shaker tag. And now we can add that sentiment. Now I did at first add it to the background like this, but I end up changing that later on. So don't pay attention to that right there. Now for the tag topper, which also comes in that die set, I'm going to color it with the same color that I colored that ground inside the shaker. And that's going to be the piece that I connect to the top. That will be where you can tie on your tag to your gift or to whatever you want. And now I'm going to go ahead and add all the pieces to the front of the acetate. I've already glued the witch's hat to that little dog. I've glued a bone in his hand right there. And now I'm going to add the bubbles and the pile of bones to the bottom and a few of the bubbles up near the top of this little scene here. Whoops. Let's go ahead and put that right back just like that. And that's going to create all the scene. Now because I made this a little bit taller than usual so that I could fit that sentiment on the bottom of the shaker, and I added the tag to the top, it's not going to fit on an A2 size card, but it will fit on a slimline or a mini slimline card if you want it to. Today I'm just going to make it into a tag, and look how fun that shaker is inside. Here's where I decided I really wanted that sentiment to be on the front. So I'm carefully peeling this off. It was still a little bit wet, so I was able to peel it off without ruining anything, thank heavens. And I'm going to glue it to the front, and then I will glue another one to the back and add some foam tape in between them so that it's the same level. And that will give it a little more stability. It will help it to build it up as well. So there's my double thick foam tape, and then I'll match that up with the one that we glued onto the front. Add a little bit of glue right there as well, and I'll go ahead and glue that right down. And I'm also going to add a little backer piece to the back of that tag right here, so that's really going to finish it off and make it look nice. You could also write a little message on the back here. So there's our tag. Now all we have to do is add a little ribbon to the top. And I've chosen some ribbon from my stash, a black and white stripe, which is really fun for Halloween. And I'm also going to tie a little orange ribbon around that to keep it all together. So there's the black and white ribbon, and here's a little orange thin ribbon that I'll tie around that. And that's going to bring in some more of our Halloween colors and make it really look nice. So I'll just trim that down just a touch. There we go. And that's going to be our shaker tag. So I just love how this turned out, and wasn't it super simple to put together? The longest part was just figuring out what I wanted to do and then coloring it all up. But the shaker tag is super simple with this new tall snow globe die from Heffy Doodle. So I hope you enjoyed this little video today. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out with YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel because I'll be back real soon with more cards, Halloween tricks and treats, and lots more paper crafting. We'll see you then. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.